everybody, this is Dear Mama Sal, and I've just got to go scooting off to the store because I finished my QB unit, and I cannot put it where it needs to be until I have put some of that felt stuff underneath so that the thing doesn't scratch the floor. So I know I've got some in the house somewhere, and I can't remember where. I obviously not put them in the right place because I did try looking for them, and so I just need to go up to the dollar store quickly and pick up some cheap ones. And there is no doubt about it, if I get them at the dollar store, they will cost me a couple of dollars, and if I go to Home Depot or somewhere, they will cost me $10, so, or at least $5. So it definitely is worth it. Of course, you've got to factor in the fact you're using gas. So, and of course, if I'm really clever, I will park quite a way away from the store where I want to go and walk there so that I can pick up some exercise points on the way. The good news is, though, for those of you who don't know already, I dropped 2 pounds in 2 days. That's what eating the right things does for you. That is amazing to me. Well, eating the right things, and I did do some exercise, there's no doubt about that. But 2 pounds in 2 days, isn't that scary? Now, do I think I'll be able to keep that up? No, nor do I want to. My goal is just a pound a week average. So I think the first few weeks, because I'm obese, the first few weeks I'll probably drop quite a bit if I behave myself. However, I do definitely want to make macaroni cheese today, so therefore I am prepared for the fact that I will probably put on a pound or two, depending on how many helpings I have. Because I'm pretty sure that one helping that they suggest is not what I'm going to eat. I like macaroni cheese way too much for that. So, but I better find out what it looks like. I think they've got it in servings of 300 grams. I'm pretty sure I'll have at least 6. So let me be realistic on that one. That just means, though, and this is what I'm learning, is I can do that if I want to. I've just got to work out how much extra exercise I need to put in to gobble it up. That's the challenge. So, will I have the discipline to go park my car at the other side of the mall to force myself to walk the mall and back again? It's not raining. What excuse do I have, right? I don't have walking shoes on. That would be a good excuse. What else can I think of? But I have gone into the right entrance to walk the whole mall. So I'm very proud of myself. That takes discipline. Much easier not to do this. And definitely considering I'm wearing shoes that don't fit me particularly well. But I'm trying to lose weight. I am losing weight. I have lost weight. So, in the future, I must remember to bring the right shoes for when I come to the mall like this. Then I will be comfortable as well as walking. Okay, now I must admit it's not a big distance, so I'm just going to show you, but because right behind me is the stores on this side, and over there is the Safeway, but I'm actually going to go to the dollar store, which is right the way over there somewhere. Actually, I'll be going to both. So by the time I've walked over there and gone back again, probably take me a couple of minutes, I would think, each way. Maybe 2.5. I'm not going to walk slowly just for that, but I'm actually going to put the timer on on my phone just to see exactly how many minutes I walked, because it all adds up, and that's what I'm trying to do. So I'll see you after I finish shopping. Bye for now. Well, Hello everybody, I'm just back from shopping, so I thought I'd just give you my tip for the day. You know, I needed to have feet to put on the bottom of my unit so that I could not scratch my floors. Well, here's the thing, I could have bought a couple of feet like that and it would have cost me $1. What I did was I bought a whole page of it and it cost me $3, but you know it's going to last me a lot longer than the small ones. So I thought I'd just mention that, probably save myself a couple of bucks in the long term. Now this time I'm going to put them somewhere where I know I'm going to find them. That would be my second tip for the day. Bye for now. Well, hi everybody, this is DearMamaSal, and I had a special request from Emily to give you the recipe for my 3-cheese macaroni and cheese. So I just thought I'd show you what I'm going to do, but at the same time I thought I'd also show you this new Gizmo that I got for my birthday. And this is one of these things called a Robo-Stir, and it looks like that. Don't know if any of you have tried it, but I haven't either, for those of you who haven't. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set it going. It has 3 speeds, and I'm going to let it, I just put in there 3 big heaped spoons of flour. I threw in about a cup of milk powder, and I would think about 3 cups of water. Now the reason I'm making it with milk powder rather than pure milk is it rates better on my diet, so that's why I'm going to do it. So what I thought I'd do is I'd just let that stir everything together for a while, and then when it's all stirred, then I will turn it on. Well, actually I decided that as I've got real batteries in there that I would not waste that much battery power. So I actually did mix most of it up, and now I have turned on my oven to medium, and now the trick is will it make an absolute mess of my cheese sauce or not. Now I haven't put any cheese in yet because I never do. I always make the sauce just about done before I add the cheese. I just find it better that way. That's just the way I do it. And some of you will say, oh, you didn't start with butter. No, I never do. And then the perfectionists are going to tell me that's not a proper roux sauce. I know. But it is the way I make my cheese sauce, and not too many people have complained. Well, that experiment failed miserably. What happened was that as soon as the sauce began to thicken, the little Gizmo machine couldn't cope with it. And not only that, it created a lumpy sauce, which is the one thing you don't want. So I pride myself in not making lumpy sauces. So here is plan B. What I'm going to do is I am actually going to just strain it through there. The way that I'm doing it is I've put some extra milk in, and then I'm just going to, with a spatula, just squeeze the lumpy stuff through the sieve, the colander, and that will just break it up enough that I'll be able to start cooking it again. So the trick is to have just a little bit extra liquid there so that you can do that. I wonder if that's obvious from what I'm doing. So it'll take a little while, but I'm patient. And now I'm going to do exactly the same thing again, but this time with a thinner sieve on it. Now I like to throw in a couple of teaspoons of Montreal steak spice because it tastes good. So I'm just getting this warmed up now. The trick when you're making sauce of any sort like this that has a flour base is, for those of you who don't know, is you need to stir it constantly, which is an absolute pain. But if you don't, then you get what I just had just now, which is a lumpy mess. But then if you do get a lumpy mess, it's why I've actually just left this video as it is, so that if anybody does end up with a lumpy mess, you know what to do. Some of you will use just a egg beater or something, but I find just straining it through 2 different levels of strainer just works really well. Just about gets you back to normal. So I'm just going to keep stirring this. I've put some macaroni in to some boiling water, and I put in about a tablespoon of oil just so that the macaroni doesn't all stick together. But that's all I've done, and it's cooking away there. So I'll come back when the next stage is ready. So now I've got some shaved Parmesan, and I've got some shredded cheese that I always keep in the freezer. I'll just break it up and use as much as I need to, and the rest will just go back in the freezer again. And that way it lasts a long time. For those of us who live on our own, a bag of shredded cheese, hopefully can last quite a while. Okay. Now, if while you're stirring, you find that the sauce is getting just a little too thick, and you'll know that because it gets, stops being a creamy consistency, it starts getting to be pretty thick. Then just add some more water, and just, slowly sort of blend it all in. And then just keep doing the same thing, and if it starts to thicken up again, then just add a bit more milk. It's easier to sort of have a little bit too much milk in it than it is not enough. When I say easier, it's going to be a better consistency and taste, because when we put the cheese in, that's going to thicken it up a little bit as well. So you want a consistency. This is too milky. Do you see this? It just runs straight off. We want it to be a little bit thicker than that, which it will be when this is cooked in, and I'll show you when it's done. And you can see that the macaroni is getting close to being ready because it started to float. And that's what you'll notice, which is when it's ready, it comes off the bottom and comes near the top. Now it's a little bit not ready yet, so we're just going to keep cooking it. The reason I say it's a little bit not ready yet, it's still a little bit yellowy as opposed to white. You can tell because it'll change from yellow to white. You don't want to overcook it, but you want to cook it enough. So now I've put in about a cup of shredded mozzarella. No, I lie. That was Parmesan. I put in shredded Parmesan. And I'm going to just blend that in until it's melted. And then I'll start adding in the frozen cheddar and mozzarella mix until I've got it to the right consistency. And really that's just about how thick do you want the sauce to be versus, Now, this macaroni is just about done here, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn it off and let it cook in its own juices until I'm ready. What I will do, and I might not be able to videotape it for you, is I will actually be straining all that macaroni and then running cold water through it to get rid of most of the starch. And that's a really important thing to do, in my view. So, as you can see, this mozzarella is beginning to melt. Which is what we want. And once that's doing pretty well. So now I'm going to sort of throw in handful by handful of the mozzarella, the cheddar and mozzarella mix, and probably I'll put in about 2 to 3 cups. Well, now I've got quite a bit of cheese in there, and as you can see, again it's beginning to melt. Some of it's still quite a little bit frozen, and that's okay because the heat will just melt it, and then it's actually not a bad idea because then all the cheese doesn't melt at the same time. But like everything else to do with sauces, you do need to keep stirring it the whole time if you don't want to have the mess that I had earlier. And this would probably take me about another 5 minutes to get it all blended in, and I'll come back to you. Switch the two pans over because we've got to the stage where I was overflowing on the other pan, but you can see this is pretty cheesy here. Cheesy. So I'm just getting it all blended in. And once that's warm, then I'll see if it needs a little bit more milk or not. And I'll show you what that looks like. So I blended it in a little bit more, but it's pretty cheesy still, as you can see, which is good. And so now I'm going to add the macaroni. Get the idea? But the cheese itself is blended in probably as much as it's going to. And here's another tip. Always add the macaroni into the sauce, not the sauce into the macaroni, because you probably can end up with too much macaroni for the sauce. And it's always easier to throw a bit of macaroni away than it is to have to make more sauce. So this is just about right. I slightly overestimated, but it's looking good. Now I could add a bit more milk in here, I guess, and add the rest of it, so why don't I do that? It's probably not a bad idea. So I'm going to add in about another cup of milk. No, half a cup probably. And just stir that in. A little bit. And then I will add the rest of the macaroni. By the way, if you don't have one of these big strainers that go over your kitchen sink, they are a godsend if you're doing pasta. Just love them to bits. Because it's nice and big, it goes over the sink beautifully. It's really easy to use. It has these extending handles on it so it fits over any sink. It's really good. Okay, so now I've got all the stuff in there. I'm going to mix it all up and then I'll show you the next bit. So I filled up this particular tray about half full with macaroni cheese, and then I've just sprinkled over all three of the cheeses, just a little bit of each over there, just to give it a bit of pop when you cut through it. And that is what it looks like when it's finished. Looks good, huh?